for a few people to get online and be able to hang with us here. This should be an interesting and very enlightening video for you all. Again, we're giving a few moments for people to jump on so we get people on here. Cool. Sweet, brother. Oh, man. Okay, I'm going to try, see if I can link to it. So Dr. Patrick Flynn, buddy of mine, he will be going live tonight as well. Tonight at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. He'll be going over live to share documents that have had constitutional lawyers write them up for all of you guys. This is something that the Wellness Way is funding out of their own pocket, more specifically Dr. Patrick Flynn and the Wellness Way corporate. So he's going to be talking about liberties, constitutional rights, those things that have been working with constitutional lawyers to write up things in regards to the forced masking. So, in which we've got you some other great stuff coming out with forced masking as well, or at least some comical stuff. You'll like it. It'll be fun. So, all right, let me get on my live so I can see any comments on here real quick. Again, you got to share this, share, because the reality is I am getting massive, I'm getting a huge amount of censorship. We've seen the reach that we've had in terms, of our viewership, our likes, things like that significantly decline. We've also been flagged for false information, though we're sharing a video that Dr. Fauci said masks aren't effective and can increase infection rates. And it's funny, you could say, well, as more people became more and more scared, and even after the crisis was over and lockdown was over, then people went out in public and more people wore masks. As masks wearing increased, so did infection rates. But here is what I'm going to show you. The FDA, all right, now this is kind of old news, but here's the reality. FDA warns of coronavirus tests that may give false positives. And they said in this article that it could be upwards of 3%, which if you actually go to the websites, and I'll get you all the links to this stuff, but if you go to the website and you can go to the FDA's own website here, I'm going to show you this. This is the FDA's, Food and Drug Administration's own website, all right? This company alerted the FDA. So this is one company alerting the FDA that their tests had roughly a 3% false positive rate. 3% false positive rate. All right, remember that number. And that is a company admitting. Here's one of the biggest points that people need to get and understand. Do you understand that right now, these laboratory companies providing these tests for the United States, for our health departments, for our medical physicians that are being bought and paid for by our U.S. tax dollars, they are making millions right now. Millions, hundreds of millions on this test, for which the results doesn't change a dang thing for what medical physicians are actually going to do, because they admit they had no effective treatments. So there's no real information gained or knowledge gained from this test that can actually benefit people. But they are making millions of dollars. Do you think a company who's given fast track available ability to provide and sell a test to the entire world, to the United States, is going to come forward and be like, hey, I know the money's rolling in like crazy and I'm making millions of dollars right now, but I need to inform you that now that we actually did the research, which you didn't require us to do, to get approval for us to provide tests to health departments, to direct our government officials, direct our health departments, to be able to scare the entire world, scare the population at hand, you know what? You didn't require us to do the test originally, but we found out that a lot of people are coming back with positive tests that really don't have the illness. That our false positive rate are maybe 1%, 2%, maybe 6%, maybe 7%. You actually see a peer-reviewed literature actually points towards the possibility of 2.3 to 6.9% SARS coronavirus false positive rate to PCR testing. So the test they are using to confirm whether somebody has the virus or not, we're not even above the potential false positive rate in Tennessee, at least. Folks, this is ridiculous. And upon other information. Now, if you want to go through this FDA website, I highly recommend you do. I've been told by friends of mine who have friends, and I hate to repeat this, I really do. I don't like repeating that somebody, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to beg and plead for anybody who is saying this and you're in a healthcare position, you're a medical physician, and you have suspicion that these tests are not accurate, if you're a physician or nurse sending in tests that have never been stuck down the nose or throat of an individual patient, and you're turning those in and seeing if you get a positive test back, and you're getting positive tests, there's been nurses claiming, doctors claiming. I have friends who are friends to this nurse who says they are turning in tests without ever using them on a single patient, and they're coming back positive. So there's tests that should never come back positive are coming back positive. If you're that nurse, if you're that doctor, on this FDA's website, okay? Again, if you want to Google it real quick, and you'll find false positive results to the BD SARS coronavirus reagents for BD MAX system, letter to clinical laboratory staff, health providers. So you go to that, and then you go down the bottom, and you can actually click on this link right here, voluntary reporting to fraud. You can report problems, serious problems with the test to the FDA. Please do that immediately. What we need to do next is ask and request a FOIA request to see how many reports have been made by nurses or medical physicians. But you can do that. And there's another link on here as well. You can go to the Department of Justice NCDF disaster complaint form. This was put out by a legislator who had been alerted to false positives on tests. Like a nurse turned in 5 tests that never been stuck down somebody's nose, and they all came back positive. That is scamming. That is fraud. You can report it here as well. We'll get you links on that in the near future once I got this up on the website. So 3%, just keep that in mind. So, and again, that is a laboratory company making millions of dollars admitting, and they're not requiring them to pull all of those tests. Those are still allowed to be used. The FDA isn't saying, oh, we could have half of the cases of positive test results. Half the cases in Tennessee could be false positives, if that were correct. But listen to this. This is one thing. Another negative COVID-19 result for Rangers OF Joey Gallo. Raises question. 1 test positive, 1 test negative. 1 test positive, 1 test negative. They're not accurate. We are making massive economical and political and mandatory regulations and orders, forcing people to do things for which the research says masks increase infection rates from viral illness or have zero effectiveness with viral illnesses. But we're mandating you do it off of test results that aren't accurate. Going on, the clinical British Medical Journal, Yale, MedRx, Ivy, listen, false positive reverse transcription PCR for SARS coronavirus. Let's go to the study actually and let's look at it. SARS-CoV, they had 1 study, and guess what? It showed the possibility of a 2.3 to 6.9. That is the average false positive rate. We're not above in most areas, above 7%. So close to 7% of the tests being turned in and used as saying the cases are going up. No, they're not going up, because if you look at Kentucky, just look at this. You look at Virginia, percentage of tests hold steady. The percentage of positive tests, testing goes up, percentage of positive tests stays the same. If the percentage of cases aren't increasing, then we're not at increasing levels of an epidemic or pandemic. Illnesses are not increasing, only testing is increasing. Kentucky the same way. If you look at this reference and resource from the government's own source of data, this is what's happened. So again, if the FDA admits that a company has admitted that roughly 3%, now a company's probably not going to be, it's close to 3%. Actually, it was 3.6, 3.9. Oh, maybe it was just shy of 4%. This is the rate of positive tests. This is the percentage of tests, or positive tests. Total tests going up, percentage of positive tests doing nothing over time. If we were truly seeing an infectious illness, we would see this go up and down, ebbs and flows. It never does this. Or is this just a normal viral virus that is normally in the microbiome of roughly 4% of people? Maybe it's just a normal virus that's in the throats and nasal cavities, and it's not causing illness at all. We're just observing people with comorbid health problems who their immune system is going haywire. with nothing as a result of coronavirus, because this cannot happen in real-world situations if it wasn't for a faulty test. This means faulty test. That's what that means, folks. And the FDA admitted it. That was just shy of 4%. The FDA's own admission, 3% of cases, test positive cases, could be because the test registers somebody positive when they're actually not. Think about this on a national scale. Think about this on an individual level, in fact. You could be quarantining for 14 days because you were one of those people that close to maybe 2.3 to 6.9% of those tests tagging you as positive. What about somebody who wants to go on a mission trip to another country and visit their family? Oh, you just got the unlucky 3%. You got a false positive. You can't go anywhere. Cancel your trip. Waste all your money. What about forcing people to close their businesses because they tested positive? Oh, I'm sorry, you're one of the unlucky 3% of false positives. The FDA isn't requiring them to remove that test. Even the CDC's own tests were coming back with false positives. Folks, the admission that a massive number, just going to the Tennessee Department of Health website, and you take that number divided by that number, you'll get the percentage of positive tests. It's roughly 6%, folks. Let's do it. I think it's 6%. If I remember, maybe that was a different calculation I was making. Let's do it right now in front of everybody. Let's take 65,274 divided by 1,053,424 equals. So that's a 6% positive rate. Again, the peer-reviewed medical scientific literature says SARS coronavirus testing, PCR testing, could have a 2.3 to 6.9. We're not even above the 6.9, so we're not out of it. Even if we played it safe and said maybe all these labs, and again, do you think a lab making millions of dollars is going to come forward and be like, hey, we want to stop the money tree from flowing, the money river coming into our bank accounts and our pocketbooks, and all our politicians who are probably invested in mask companies and testing companies right now? They knew they were going to do this. Do you think they were just like, hey, they do it all the time. It's ridiculous. Don't be naive. They are making millions on this. People are getting rich on this. And they are mandating communities shut down their businesses. Small family businesses are being shut down because we have faulty tests. And they haven't even been required to prove that their tests are not the entire problem. Now, I understand that people are sick right now. But you could go into the whole thing, and this is a nice little link to read about. Critic slams changes in ICU capacity reporting in Houston. They're changing the reporting of ICU capacity. They had reported at one point in time they're at 100%. No ICUs left. No, they were at 100% of the first stage of ICU capacity. Therefore, then they can just open up another area of the hospital for ICU beds. They weren't at capacity. They were at 100% of their first stage. Why didn't they tell everybody that in the first place? They don't care. They want to scare people. Folks, that right there, this right here, shows their logic, their evidence is extremely unscientific and faulty. The fact that the FDA is allowing, take it for face value, the most lying and deceitful organizations and companies in the world, drug companies, are preying on people because they aren't required to prove that their tests are actually accurate. No. Emergency status. Approve them all. Let them all be used. Who cares how accurate they are? Even though the accuracy of them has been shown by science that it's not accurate enough for us to actually make true judgments on the reality of the virus in transmission or in our population. But hey, we will allow our department, and folks, I have emailed the Tennessee Department of Health, and they've given us the runaround. Maybe I can pull up the email here real quick. I'll show you. Department of Health. Let's see. Okay. Good morning. The answers to your questions, case definition information gathered in cases can be found, most of your questions, right there. I'll click on it. Here, watch. Here's what comes up. Do you know what that is right there, folks? So this is what the health department sent me to. Do you know what that symbol is? It's the caduceus. It was waved by a Greek god Hermes, who actually that symbol was used as a weapon, it was a wand, to usher souls into the underworld. But not only that, it was used to protect liars and thieves. That's what that symbol's used for. Ironic, I guess, right? Just ironic, just ironic. Not anything of the spiritual realm, like reality, like God saying, hey, they're a bunch of liars and thieves. They even used the symbols that were used to protect liars and thieves. The public health department might be protecting liars and thieves. They used the symbol on their page that was used to protect liars and thieves. Don't just believe them as being sincere people who really want to take care of our children. Yeah, right. By admission of Joey Smith, our health director here in Montgomery County, to me, and I put all the emails between me and him online. When telling the truth might get you put in jail. If you want to go back and watch it and confirm my statements, I say this because I wish he would turn from his wicked ways, the wrongful ways of concealing the identity of liars and thieves, protecting liars and thieves. He admitted to me, this is Montgomery County's health director, public health director, admitted to me he knew the CDC scientist William Thompson had admitted to committing fraud in relationship to the MMR vaccine research that said vaccines don't cause autism. He said, yeah, I know about him. I know that he confessed. He says, it's above my head to do anything about it. No, it's not. Your duty to every child of God is to make sure parents are at least made aware of the potential for lies coming from the CDC. But not right now. They're protecting liars and thieves, folks. That's the way I see it. Anyways, let's go back to my email. Give me a second. The cases can be found there. For the laboratory-specific questions, you will have to gather those from the manufacturers, and most will be available online. Dozens of different tests are available, and different laboratories use different platforms, and they go through. Some have more than one available, and we are not involved in their decisions. Specific requirements for labs to validate and be able to use each test are also test and institution specific, and those requirements can be accessed via CLIA and the FDA. Again, the FDA admitted that they don't require them to prove that their tests are accurate, that don't have a 6, 7, 8% false positive rate. They don't require them. The FDA admits that. So here is our health department saying, we've never required any confirmation of a false test response, false positive test rate. We haven't mandated that amongst this economic crisis and horrific, orchestrated, whatever you want to call it, lie. And again, I understand people are sick, but people are getting sicker and have been getting sicker in the United States with massive chronic and autoimmune degenerative diseases, diabetes, massive preventable health conditions that the health department hasn't been able to prevent. You think we're not going to have more people than last year winding up in the hospital with severe illness when we have more people with all the comorbid, all the health conditions, all the chronic lung conditions, all the chronic immune issues that are skyrocketing over the last 20, 30 years as a result of their watch? While they were on watch, our nation's been getting sicker and sicker. It doesn't take common sense to say what they're doing isn't working and may even be harmful. At the bare least, it doesn't work what they're doing. They're allowing a nation to deteriorate economically, physically, mentally, and sadly, so much of it seems spiritually. They have failed us miserably. I asked for the test and the confirmation that their tests were accurate. They couldn't give it to me. Tennessee Health Department could not Give it to me. Gave me the runaround, said, you have to look at the FDA's website. So again, I already had it. The FDA admits they didn't require people. Labs prove that their tests are accurate. And again, one of the biggest telling would be this right here. Percentage of positive tests, as total tests go up, the percentage of those total tests stay at 3, 6, 4%. Kentucky tried to mandate and force people and force shutdowns, all this stuff, and their tests, as tests go up, percentage of positive tests don't. That right there doesn't happen in a real world. That happens because either somebody's lying or nobody really cares about accurate science and statistics. All they care about is creating fear. So while they let testing go up, they don't care that the number of tests coming back positive stays exactly the same, basically. That right there shows you, at least in Kentucky, you don't have accurate real numbers. You have a faulty test. That's what you have. All right, folks. I love you all. We'll get these sources out to you. I know that Ashley may be able to get them out to you as quick as possible in the next in a day or so, but we'll get them out to you ASAP. Ashley, how are we putting sources? Can they do anything like TW? They can't do TWD right now, so TWD doesn't work.
No, but I'll get it up and I'll put it in the comments for them.
Okay.
Directly.
You'll have to check back. We'll put them in the comments. Those things you can typically get it by, if you were to pause the video and type in the titles there, you'll get each of these either scientific articles or news media articles, that type of thing. So you can go article by article.
We'll
the
create
other,
a blog post and I'll link it.
And Ashley said she will create a blog post where you can get like these things too that I briefly mentioned. But yeah, you can get all that. And then like here, the FDA serious reporting of problems. You can do that. I'm begging and pleading for medical physicians and nurses who are turning in tests that have never been actually used on a patient, an individual, to come forward and blow the whistle. Report it to the FDA. All right, folks? It's insane what's going on, and the fact that we are allowing politicians to try and take our constitutional freedoms and rights away from us and potentially do harm if reusable cloth masks. I mean, shoot, I just mentioned the CD or the Tennessee Health Department literally has, I don't have the folder, literally has a PDF on how properly to use a mask. If you touch the outside of a mask, you should throw it away. And you should immediately wash your hands before contaminating any other surface. Think about this. Tennessee Health Department doesn't care how to educate people on proper mask use. When the evidence is available to us that shows cloth masks likely increase infection rates, but not only that, if somebody is sick themselves and they're coughing, sneezing, breathing into a mask, and they're putting virus particulate, even if that mask actually works. Let's pretend it works. Okay, cloth masks have zero filtering capacity for aerosolized viruses, but let's pretend that it's catching all those viruses, and now it's in the mask material. And then the person moves their mask down for any reason whatsoever, but doesn't wash their hand. Everything they touch with their hand is now contaminated. They are spreading more virus. If they were to cough or sneeze into a tissue when they cough or sneeze and then throw it away, now you take in the particulates that would have droplets that would have contaminated surfaces and you throw it away, then you go wash your hands. Now that's the right way to reduce the spread of an illness. But wearing a mask that's catching all those viruses, then touching it, pulling it down, talking, touching everything else, you are spreading the virus around. You are spreading that illness. How about the people that their mask did what they're supposed, what they tell you you need? Your mask is, my mask is for me, your mask is for me, your mask is for you. Who knows? So let's pretend the mask caught the virus in the air and it did what a filter supposedly was supposed to do. Again, this is theorizing and going against all the science that says that viruses aren't filtered by cloth masks especially, or medical masks. So let's pretend that it actually did that, even though science says it doesn't. So let's hypothetically pretend that it does. Okay, again, masks are magical, so they're talismans, they're magical little masks that catch viruses, which science says they don't, so they caught it. So now you touch your mask, now it's on your hands, you take your mask down, oh, you gotta wear a mask on your way to your dinner table. At dinner, okay, but somehow you caught the virus from somebody else who was sick on your mask. Now you reach to your mask and you pull it down, but the virus is caught on your mask and now it's on your hands, and now you pick your burger up and you eat your burger and now you got sick. Oh, great, we just increased infection rates. Folks, the fact that they don't share that type of information with you, to me, speaks highly of their insincerity. And the fact that they're not mandating, we know that a test is actually accurate, that shows insincerity. And the rates of false again, I think I've gone through it. Go back and watch if you want the information and evidence. This is ridiculous what our nation, the people of this nation are allowing to happen. But sadly, it's through fear. Are there people sick? Yeah, there's a lot of people sick right now from allergies, asthma, COPD. There's a lot of people sick right now from rhinoviruses that can cause exactly the same symptoms and actually are associated with pneumonia more often than coronaviruses or the flu. But nobody cares about all those poor people, those susceptible people dying of rhinovirus. Nobody cares that their death is going to be used as a statistic to drive fear in the hearts and minds of Americans right now, or the world. People are dying in hospital from rhinovirus right now, but are being used for this plandemic. Their lives, their deaths are being used for evil, for lies, for deception. But I'm telling you, coronaviruses, flu, rhinoviruses can be the final straw that takes somebody out. That's why if we were actually going to do something that mattered, why aren't we looking at how we can enhance people's resiliency against infectious diseases? Why aren't we shutting down all the McDonald's? Why aren't we shutting down Wendy's? Why aren't we shutting down any fast food chain that sells junk? Why aren't we shutting down the sale of any candy, Pop-Tarts, Twinkies, all that junk that increases inflammation, decreases your cellular and mucosal membrane immunity? Why aren't we doing that? If we had done that, more people would be alive today if they had done that 3-6 months ago. But their insincerity is written all over their faces. They're the ones that need to wear masks. But sadly, even if they wore a mask, it's not going to hide their insincerity. Because the health department, the CDC, the pharmaceutical industry, these government agencies, sadly, many of the politicians probably getting rich off the sale of these tests and the sale of these masks. I think every single politician and person out there advocating in any type of position of authority, I think we should have full access to all of their financial portfolios so that we can see. They should post them all online. Let's see where their investments are right now. If they really cared, there would have been a lot of things they could have been doing. We are wasting money on tests that change nothing. You know what? I'll work with patients all the time, and I'll be like, the symptoms you have could be caused by multiple different viruses, or Lyme's disease, or different strains of bacteria. I'm like, I'm going to tell you right now, it's not necessary to test for them. Because what enables you to respond to those and clear your chronic mono case, to clear this shingles virus, to clear these herpes viruses, to not continuously get cold sores, I tell them it's your immune system. That's what's important. Why waste money on testing? You've got a cold sore, so you pretty much are guaranteed to come positive on a herpes virus. Test your digestive system. Why don't we spend the money where it could actually benefit you on things like better nutrition? I mean, I get people even asking me, hey doc, do you sell zinc? You know, there's a reason I don't carry zinc right now. Because if you need to supplement with zinc, you are really not eating well. Could it save a life in an emergency situation because somebody got sick after chronically eating junk food? Yes, it could save their life in an emergency situation. But the reality is, with my clients and my patients, I'm not recommending they take a bunch of isolated minerals or supplements. You know what I say? Let's change your nutrition. Let's do proper testing, and let's supplement with herbs that are whole in their form and constituents that can further enhance and feed areas of your body, systems of your body, to enable them to work more efficiently and have the constituents and compounds necessary to produce a stronger and healthier immune response, a more regulated, modulated immune response. Why aren't we doing tests like that? I mean, bare minimum, we should be doing nutrient testing panels on every single elderly in every single nursing home, but they don't. But they could. And again, another example of what I see as insincerity. Do they really care about lives? Then they'd be using things that would have worked already, that science has proven, that could save lives. Summer says, go grab my medical textbook, the immunology textbook. Anna says it should be the bare minimum. Summer says most medical docs don't know jack about nutrition. Yeah, let me show you their medical textbook here in a second. Ashley's grabbing it for me real quick. All right, so medical immunology right here. Requirement. I believe Patrick is required to read this as he's going through. Again, check out Dr. Patrick Flynn through the Wellness Way as he goes through mass and more the legal and constitutional freedoms from his constitutional lawyers that he's hired and paid several tens of thousands to get them to give you documents to help you in this fight to maintain our freedoms and a free nation. But this medical textbook right here, I looked up vitamins and nutrients. Guess what? Half a page. Half of a page. See that highlights right there? I haven't highlighted anywhere else, so I could specifically show you that this is all they talk about. All they talk about in regards to nutrition. They don't even go through the bare minimum requirements for a healthy immune response. They don't. They talk about how it works, what it does, but more importantly, I could care less about how it works as long as I've got everything for it to work. So why don't they teach our medical physicians about what they need to be making sure their patients are consuming on a regular basis so they have everything they need? I mean, would you rather, how many of you would rather go to a doctor? Give me some responses here. How many of you would rather go to a doctor? You know, I study how it works and what makes it work. But I've spent most of my career in life studying why it works, what is needed for it to work. And I have studied far less on exactly all the little chain responses, reactions, all those things that happen when it works. But I'd rather know the knowledge to provide my patients with the knowledge and information they need to make sure that it does work. But doctors, on the other hand, study how it works, but not on how to make it work or enable it to work or make sure that they have what is necessary for it to work. How many of you would rather go to a doctor that says, you know what, I know that you've got these conditions, you got this stuff going on with your health, we've got these test results, so here's what we need to do. We need to take astragalus to be able to feed your bone marrow. We need to take reishi mushroom to support your mucosal membrane immune system and reduce your cardiovascular risk. We need to go ahead and start decreasing your metabolic syndrome, and we're going to use dandelion for that. You know what? You've got a fatty liver, and that increases a lot of risks, including infectious disease, mortality risks. So we're going to start using milk thistle to help clean that liver up and allow it to heal. You know, science has said this is what these herbs can do for you. And what if you're the patient, you ask me, well, doc, how exactly does it work? What if I said, you know what, I have no clue how it works. I just know that God's really intelligent and he's the one who made it and science has proved that it does work. So you've got these things going on and it will do this. It's been scientifically proven to enable your body to do those functions better. I don't know how it does that exactly and what all takes place chemically and biologically and physiologically. But you know what? It does work. So would you rather come to a doctor that says that, or would you rather go to a doctor that says, You know what? Here's your test results. You're really screwed. Your immune system is completely depleted. You've got diabetes and a fatty liver right now. And so, yeah, you need to run and hide in fear because coronavirus is a big and bad, scary virus. And I don't even know how many people are actually positive because I don't care about the false positive rates of our tests. But you need to be really scared. And what if you were to say, well, Doc, how do we fix all that stuff? I don't know. But I can tell you how your immune system should work. These tests are wrong, and this is what's going to go wrong, and this is why and how all the biological systems of your body, this is what it means. Your T cells, you don't have hardly enough T cells right now, so to mount a healthy immune response and have memory T cells to prevent future recurring infections, I'm sorry, you don't have enough of those cells. So your T cells do this, your cytokines do this, your antibodies do this. It's perfectly, like that's how all your immune system works. And if they went through the entire textbook and rattled it all off the top of their head, and then you could ask them, well, Doc, okay, what do I need to take or what do I need to do to be able to enable my body to produce those immune cells and mount that immune response? And the doctor says, well, I was never trained on that. I know all the things that should be going on in a healthy body, but I don't know how to create a healthy body. Which doctor would you rather go to? Our Wellness Way docs are the docs you need to be working with. That's what I'm going to say right now. If you actually want to do testing that is beneficial, if you actually want to evaluate your status of health right now, and you want people to give you guidance and assist you in the process of taking care of covering the bases and making sure you're on track to maintaining a healthier immune response, to assessing whether you even have the capability to mount a healthy immune response, why don't you find a Wellness Way doc? That's what I'm begging you all to do. Abandon the medical system. Studies a half a page on what they'd need to provide you with to mount a healthy immune response. And start finding the docs that have studied this their entire careers. All right, folks, I love you. I'm going home to my family. Love you. Share the truth. Don't just like it. It's the only way we save lives. I'm the Wild Doc.